Welcome everybody to episode number 25 of Can We Make Impact Wrestling the best promotion in Total Extreme Wrestling 2013. My name is the Mayor, Jason Smith. We are once again, just to give everybody a recap, because we've added another channel to our broadcast lineup. We now broadcast on two different channels on Facebook, my personal channel, and the Kayfabe Controversy Facebook page. We stream on Twitch, we're on YouTube, and we are on Mixer now under the username DFJason. So if you're on Mixer and you want to jump over there, by all means, slide on over and say hello to us. Total Extreme Wrestling 2013, we are using a roster update from June of 2019. So big thank you to Haz, one of the followers, viewers, subscribers on our YouTube channel, for hooking us up with that roster update, and we're very, very happy with it, and we've been rolling along just fine. Just to kind of bring everybody that's on Mixer up to speed, we took over Impact Wrestling, and we've been working to try to get that promotion where it needs to be to compete with WWE. We are currently second in the world, so we're right behind WWE. We still have cult status, though, which puts us a little bit behind the 8 ball when it comes to popularity and things like that. We're getting close to being able to qualify for national status in size, and we've got 3 days before our next TV Impact Wrestling. So if you look at our history, we just finished our November pay-per-view, one night only, and started off a little rough, but we ended up with a B rating total and our best pay-per-view buy rate we've ever had for an Impact pay-per-view since we took over the company. Went in front of 8,100 people, which is fantastic as well. Way up from the days of working in the Impact Zone back in the aughts, which we will actually talk about here in this episode. We're going to talk about TNA Lockdown 2006, as we continue not only going through the game and trying to make Impact the best promotion in Total Extreme Wrestling 2013, but we're also sort of recapping all of the monthly pay-per-views that Impact, TNA, Global Force Wrestling, whatever you want to call them, has done. So we are up to April 2006, the Lockdown pay-per-view, which all of the matches, with the exception of the Arm Wrestling Challenge, were held inside a steel cage, or the 6 sides of steel, as it was in TNA at this time period, because they were still using the 6-sided ring. So in our game world here, Impact Wrestling, we've got $99 million. We took a little bit of a loss in October, but that was because we made a couple of big signings. If you look at our roster, we still have, the Alex Shelleys of the world. We brought in Amy Dumas last month as a road agent. We've got Brian Cage still on board. We brought in Britt Baker last month. Christian Cage is still one of our road agents. We also got a couple of big coups from WWE. We got Ethan Carter III we managed to steal back after his contract was up. And probably the biggest one, Ricochet. And landing Ricochet was huge for us, and we cannot wait to have him on, because that gives us another main event player that we can work with as we go through here. You can also see we've got Marty Scurll. We picked up Kota Ibushi, Kofi Kingston, who is our current Impact World Champion and one of the highest paid guys on our roster, by the way. TJP is here. We've got the Gorillas of Destiny, Tessa Blanchard, Tennille Taylor, Sue Young, Shayna Baszler we stole. Sean Spears is here. We stole him from AEW when his contract came up. Zack Sabre Jr. as well is here. And so we've got a pretty solid roster. We're also in negotiations with Bobby Fish on a contract for him as we continue to kind of wait for the rest of, the Undisputed Era, if you will, or even Red Dragon for that matter, to come on board. We've got those guys on our short list, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole. So when their contracts come up, we'll be able to negotiate with them and try to land them. So we'll go ahead and move ahead a day on our game world, and we'll talk about the first match at TNA Lockdown 2006. It was the debut of a couple of guys from New Japan making their pay-per-view debut in TNA. It was Team Japan, which was Minoru Tanaka, Hiroki Goto, and Black Tiger, who, if you don't know who Black Tiger is, it's Rocky Romero of some AEW work I think he's done, mostly New Japan and Ring of Honor. They took on Team USA, Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Alex Shelley in a cage match. 12 minutes to start off the show. Really good match, actually. Team Japan ended up picking up the win in that one. The next up was a singles match between Christopher Daniels and Senshi, who is Low-Ki. If you remember, Low-Ki actually jumped on board in Impact as Senshi. This was his Impact pay-per-view debut for the promotion. Another 12-minute match, another cage match. Senshi picked up the win over Chris Daniels in that match. The third match on the card was actually an arm wrestling challenge. And it was between Bullet Bob Armstrong, yeah, that Bullet Bob Armstrong, and he had Road Dogg and Billy Gunn at ringside taking on Conan in the arm wrestling match, and he had Homicide and Hernandez at ringside. And as you can imagine, anything that can go wrong will go wrong with an arm wrestling match or a wedding when it comes to professional wrestling, and that did. Bullet Bob Armstrong technically got the win, but all hell broke loose afterwards. So there are a total of 8 matches on the card. We'll go over the rest of them here shortly, as our next day is lined up here. Cherry Bomb / Allie looks like she may be headed to AEW, or continuing her work with AEW and Smash California. And yeah, I don't know if I want to sign her or not. I mean, it would be a good pickup for our women's division, but we're a little heavy on the women's division side, so I feel like we're going to have to let some of these people go, and we'll deal with the fallout from that. But I don't really know if I want to bring her on or not. So Monday Night Raw last night, Nakamura had the star of the show. You know what? She's arguably probably going to end up being the best wrestler I have on the roster. Let's sign her, and we'll figure it out. Let's see what her offer is. It's a pay-per-appearance deal and an exclusive deal with AEW, $1,900 a month for 3 years. I think if we went $2,150, gave her 20% bonus. Yeah, I think that might be enough to steal her away from AEW. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do with that women's division afterwards, but, there we go. All right, moving on. So the next match on the card at Lockdown 2006 was an X-Scape match. It was spelled with an X, because it was an X Division match. You had Elix Skipper, Petey Williams, Chase Stevens, Shark Boy, and Puma, and Chris Sabin. All in this matchup. So you could basically what you had to do was it was an elimination cage match. So you could lose by pinfall or submission until there were 2 of you left, and then whoever got out first was the winner. So Shark Boy was eliminated first when Petey Williams hit him with the Canadian Destroyer. Chase Stevens was next when Elix Skipper hit his finisher. Elix was eliminated by Petey Williams on a sunset flip. Chris Sabin hit the Cradle Shock on Puma, a.k.a. TJP, to get eliminated. So that left just Chris Sabin and Petey Williams. Chris Sabin escaped the cage first and was declared the winner of the X-Scape match. Yeah, that's hard to say, honestly. All right, next up we have the X Division Championship steel cage match between Sabu, the challenger, and the reigning champion Samoa Joe. Quick match, 6.5 minutes or so, real fast match. Samoa Joe ended up picking up the victory over Sabu in that cage match. The 6 Sides of Steel Anthem match, whatever the hell that is. Team 3D with Devon, Bully Ray, and the pay-per-view debut of Spike Dudley, who went by Brother Runt in his Impact run, took on and defeated Team Canada, Bobby Roode, Eric Young, and A1 with Scott D'Amore at ringside in their 6 Sides of Steel match. So 2 matches left on the card. The Lethal Lockdown match and the 6 Sides of Steel match for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. We'll talk about those here in just a moment. We have unread emails waiting, and we've got some news here. Allie, gonna stay with AEW. Okay. I'm cool with that. Let's see, what else do we got here? Looks like Trent may be staying with PWG. Kezzy's gonna stay with PWG. Renee Michelle out of Shine. Looks like she's gonna re-up. She's a young lion, too. Steve Cutler is making his way up from the developmental territory to WWE. Mick Moretti has decided to retire. Wesley Blake looks like he's getting ready to go. Let's see, Jimmy Uso's contract is up, and that is one that we want to try to land. And it looks like he's going to listen to offers from us. 4 years, $11,000 a month, 20% pay-per-view. I want him for major TV shows and above. I'm willing to go 30%, 4 years, and I am willing to get Jimmy paid to make this happen. I will go to $13,500 because wherever Jimmy goes, Jay is not far behind, and his contract should be up soon, and I will have the Usos locked down, so to speak. It's probably not very funny for me to use a jail terminology when it comes to the Usos, but whatever. I'll sign them. I'm not going to turn them down. That's for damn sure. Alright, and WWE SmackDown went down. I want to see if he's in the game. I want to sign him to a developmental deal. He actually just signed at the Performance Center, and I've been watching some of his work, and he's not in here. Austin Theory. If you've never seen Austin Theory work, I hadn't heard of him. I mean, I had heard of him through like the Evolve and stuff, and man, I went in and watched some of his work, and holy hell, he is talented. This kid is really, really good. I wouldn't say he reminds me of like an AJ Styles. He kind of reminds me of an AJ Styles in his like ability to work, and really just going ape and doing all of this really great stuff, and just being right there on the cusp of being just incredibly good. That is what he reminds me of in the AJ Styles sense. He was trained by AR Fox. If you don't remember him, he's had some runs in some of the indies as well. But yeah, Austin, super talented. I wish he was in the game. I'm going to have to figure out what's going on with that. So, yeah. But it's a shame he's not in the game. All right, so we've got one night left, I guess. 2 matches to talk about at Lockdown 2006. So we'll do that right now. First match, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in a cage. Abyss, James Mitchell at ringside, taking on the defending champion, Christian Cage. 15-minute match, probably arguably should have been the main event. I shouldn't say I'm never. There are certain instances that I am completely okay with the World Heavyweight Championship not being in the main event. This one probably wasn't one of them, even though you had some really big names in the main event. But that said, Christian Cage retained his title against Abyss, and then the main event was a lethal lockdown match. It's basically 4-on-4 in a cage. And you started on one side, you had Sting's Warriors, which was Sting, AJ Styles, R-Truth, and Rhino taking on Jeff Jarrett, Scott Steiner, and America's Most Wanted, Chris Harris and James Storm. They also had Gail Kim and Jackie Gata at ringside. So a lot of star power in this match. Went almost a half an hour, and just a really solid match. And, Sting at this time, was Sting, and AJ was on the come up. Jeff Jarrett was pretty much the main player in Impact at this time. America's Most Wanted were the guys. in the tag team world. And then, of course, you had Scott Steiner and R-Truth and Rhino, who were right there as well. And so, all in all, pretty decent match, pretty solid pay-per-view, too. And if you get a chance to check out this match on Impact Plus, I highly recommend it. Also, Christy Hemme made her debut at this pay-per-view, so if you are a fan of Christy Hemme, go check that out as well. And so that's the Lethal Lockdown 2006 pay-per-view at the Impact Zone in April. Next up would be May 14th, 2006, Sacrifice. And you would see the return to Impact Wrestling of Jushin Thunder Liger. You would see Johnny Devine make his return. Tyson Dukes, yeah. Tyson Dukes would have an appearance on this. He wouldn't technically have in-ring action, but Tyson Dukes made his pay-per-view debut. Trying to think if there were any other pay-per-view debuts in this one. Sin Cara, the second Sin Cara, not the original Sin Cara, went under the mask Incognito. He would make a debut. Shocker would return at this pay-per-view. Let's see, who else was there? I think those were the only debuts. I think. But we've got unread emails and decisions. We'll talk about Sacrifice at episode 26, so stay tuned for that. Let's see here. What do we got going on? Not much, it looks like. Michael Dante staying with Progress. Bram going to stay in ICW. Colin Delaney may re-sign with AIW, not to be confused with AEW. Bobby Fish has agreed to the terms of our contract, and 14 days he will join the fold here. So he's got 14 days left on his WWE deal, then he's coming to us. We've got Jonathan Fatu, Jimmy Uso's contract. The terms of his deal with WWE has been tweaked. They went up to 20% per pay-per-view for 5 years at $12,000 a month. I still think we're probably pretty good, but I think I'm going to go up to 14, and I'm going to go 5 years too. I love the Usos. I really, really love the Usos. So I'm willing to make that kind of investment if I can get the one and then hopefully land the other. So we've got our show tonight, and we are going to be in the Buga Abreu Arena in Puerto Rico, and we need to find new opponents for all of our champions. If we go back through and look at our titles here, our X Division champion, Marty Scurll, defense number 5 since winning the title, the most since Will Ospreay had it earlier in the year. Kofi Kingston continuing to dominate, as he's had 3 successful title defenses of his current Impact Championship run. Our Knockouts champion, Kairi Sane, 7 defenses of her championship. And Jake Hager beat Eddie Edwards for the Impact Grand Championship the last time around. And then, of course, our tag team champions, 2-time champions, the Lucha Bros, Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix. So we need opponents for all of these guys. And, as we talked about, we don't have... who don't we have? We don't have Ricochet yet. We don't have Bobby Fish yet. If we look at our... it's not on medical. But there's a few guys that are, will be there, ready to go here pretty soon. So we got to keep that in mind as we build these matches. I like the idea of a return match between Jake Hager and Eddie Edwards for the Grand Championship, at least for this particular taping. I like this idea. but we're going to scale it back to a 15-minute match. Whoops, the Knockouts Championship is not on the line for these two. And we'll get them going all out here. The X Division, Marty Scurll. I like the idea of Marty Scurll doing something here. Max size will go light heavy. See if that clears out anybody. Didn't really clear out anybody. Okay, except for maybe like Bully Ray and Brian. Oh, Brian Cage is still there. How is Brian Cage a light heavyweight? Get out of here with that nonsense. Brian Cage ain't no light heavyweight. Anyway. Alright, Marty Scurll. Let's see here. He's beaten Will Ospreay. He's beaten Zack Sabre. TK Orion doesn't necessarily need one. TJP, maybe. Sean Spears, maybe. Rich Swann, maybe. MJF slid down the card too far, but maybe. Kota Ibushi's a maybe. Let's see what Jay White can do. He's been moving up. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm going to go Jay Lethal. I want to see Marty Scurll and Jay Lethal one-on-one. Have they ever met never one-on-one? Okay, at least not with us anyway. For the X Division Championship, Marty's going to get over in this one. But we're going to keep Jay strong for sure. And this is going to open the show. This is going to be a big one to open our show. Alright, so our tag team division, we're going to go with the Lucha Bros. And we're going to have them take on Dave and Jake Christ. We'll see if these guys... Have they ever met one-on-one? They have not. It's always been in a multi-team match. So this is the first time that these two teams have faced off with one another just in a traditional tag team match. Alright, let's see here. So we are going to keep it open. We're going to keep Dave and Jake strong. Decisive win. And you know what? I don't care who wins this one. I want to see how this goes down. Alright, and we've got our Knockouts champion, Kairi Hojo, who needs a new opponent here. She's basically rolled through everybody almost in alphabetical order, all the way down to Su Yung. So we will give Talia Madison a shot since she's next on the list. And we'll see how those two do in the ring with one another. And we will work the crowd, decisive, and open. Women's Championship on the line. Amy Dumas is our road agent. Alright. Now we need to find a contender for one Kofi Kingston. So, let's see here. TJP had the last shot. Let's go with Alex Shelley. Let's see how these two do one-on-one. You know, why not? I like Alex Shelley a lot. They've never faced each other, so it's worth a go. We'll see how this one rolls off. You know what? Let's slow build it. And a decisive win. Keep it open. Keep Alex strong. But Kofi's gonna win. And if this plays out the way I hope it does, we'll be in pretty good shape going forward. So those are going to be our potential pay-per-view matchups. Alright, also we've got Will Ospreay, who we are going to throw in the ring with Bully Ray. I don't know why. I don't think they've ever faced each other. They have not. So, we'll see. Not sure how this one's going to go, but we'll give it a whirl. What the hell? Alright, next up. we've got TJP, and let's do Sammy Callahan. These two probably won't sync up either, so we'll see. And my dogs want to throw fit, so that's fun. What are you doing? Be quiet. I don't know what her problem is. She will bark at anything that moves, and it just really irks us sometimes. Love that dog to death, but my goodness. Alright, so we've got 3 upper card guys. Let's give some of our mid card guys some work with these 3. So we'll get Eli Drake up first, and we'll go Jay White for you. And I think I may be able to convince Eli Drake to put Jay White over. I think. We'll see. Yeah, cool. Alright, thank you, Eli. I will keep that in mind, sir. Alright, next up. I have enough time for 2 more matches. And we're going to put Johnny Impact with... let's do Dalton Castle. This ought to be an interesting pairing. And we'll keep it open. We'll work the crowd to a decisive finish. Alright, next up, last but not least, we will feature Rich Swann against Flip. Let's book Flip. Alright, let's see if Rich Swann will put Flip over. Let's see. Nope. He sure won't. Whoops. I don't want to keep Rich Swann strong. I want Flip Gordon to look good. There we go. Okay. Alright. Here we go. 125 minutes, 10 segments, and go. Alright, so not a bad match to start things off, Marty and Jay Lethal with a C+ rating. A B- out of Rich Swann and Flip Gordon, even though Rich wouldn't do the favor for Flip. A B out of Johnny Impact and Dalton Castle. Wow, that was much better than I was expecting. Jay White, Eli Drake with a C+. A C out of Bully Ray and Will Ospreay. Bully has not had good matches lately. I'm a little disappointed. B- out of Sammy Callahan and TJP. Probably a little better than I expected. Kyrie and Talia wrestled to a C+. We'll keep that in mind for pay-per-view matchup. Jake Hager and Eddie Edwards to a C+ in a return match. A B out of the Lucha Bros and OVE. The Lucha Bros defend the title successfully. And finally, a B- out of Alex Shelley and Kofi Kingston. Defense number 4 for Kofi of his Impact World title. So we'll keep that one. Put a pin in that for a potential pay-per-view matchup. So a B- increased our popularity in 21 regions. Very excited for this. This is good stuff. We continued to have positive results, positive ratings. Now let's hope that translates into TV ratings, which we just renegotiated our TV deals for another year. So we'll see how this goes for us. The first episode post-contract renewal. And hopefully we can sign an USO. Unread emails waiting. Alrighty. Melanie Cruz to NXT. Good for her. Timothy Thatcher resigns with Evolve. AEW formed a couple new tag teams, Hernandez and Dustin. That's a weird team. And speaking of weird teams, Amazing Red and Teddy Hart. Robert Evans and Michael Nakazawa. Okay. Great show for us. That's awesome news. All right. So we've got our usual people who don't have the stamina, I guess, to work every week. All right. Same rating as last episode on Fight Network, so that's pretty good. Slightly up on Spike UK. And slightly down on Pop, which, to be honest with you, I am very pleased with these ratings, even though it dropped a little bit, because I never in a million years thought we would get a 2.0 on Pop, and we're at 2.4, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I believe Pop is too. So that's going to wrap up this episode. We will be back tomorrow, episode number 26. And we will be doing another Impact taping, and we'll be talking about Sacrifice 2006 as we continue to chronicle the history of Impact pay-per-views. My name is the Mayor, Jason Smith. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.